Okay, so the shoe is on the other foot, as we say here in Ireland and other places, and it's my pleasure and honor to be interviewing Carey, my new friend over there in the UK. Good afternoon, Carolyn. How are you today?
Hey, hi Lou. Good to see you. I'm really well, thank you.
Thank you for your time. I know you've got a dozen things in motion, if I'm seeing this rightly, and you're in the midst of finishing an exciting new book.
I am. I'm very excited about the book actually. Yeah. That's it's been a big project.
Well, I can't wait to chat with you about that if we can touch on some of that.
Absolutely. I'd be
Okay. Okay, lovely. So Carolyn just gave me her permission a minute ago to share this wonderful video here to set the stage. So it's just perfect. Let me make sure the music is on, and I'm going to share the screen, and we'll take it away here. It goes like this.
The lone wolf standing, calling to the moon, offering her howl to the heavens. She knows what it means to offer her
Sorry.
voice into the void for all who wish to hear. Awaken.
Take two.
The lone wolf standing, calling to the moon, offering her howl to the heavens. She knows what it means to offer her voice into the void for all who wish to hear. Awakening the precious undertones of nature as cells drink in the night-felt dewy sensations of fear, mixed with undoubtedly sure-footed primal instinct of feet on the ground, furred body and mouth of saliva, calling to that she-moon that looks down on our own territory of flesh and bone. She who does not leave us will always mother us and allow those fluid waters and rich blood to flow through our bodies. The feminine being and her own fire, will she decide to no longer be that same lone wolf? Her howl becomes the howl of many others, and the wisdom becomes the wisdom of all our hearts, and the cauldron expands and spills into the medicine bags of all those who will dare to carry them, as the medicine's power pulls us closer to the earth, and the mother's voice reaches in and joins those forces together. And together we come, knowing it is right and timely to do so, to share what is dear to us, to share our own fire, our own creative juice. Where do we come from? It does not matter. We have been called into a web that is woven with magic and sensuality, woven with blessings of the wider web of mystery and belonging, woven with the threads of many dreams and dreamt into being. We become that one web, we become that one fire, we become that one juicy bowl of medicine filled with the ripeness of all we are, and the fire grows and sparkles and sends its light amongst many other dancers and medicine ways. A new model and map for conforming old stereotypical patterns that no longer serve us, no longer fit in today's hunt for the resurgence of the feminine, the awakening of the mother, and the wisdom of ages that was put aside, hidden in the depths of our bellies, forced to shut up, sit down, hide our face, our medicine, our power, our voice. Let us dance and sing together. Let us pray and stomp our feet together. Let us speak out and share our stories together. Let us sit in the quiet silence together as witness to the fire and all it is illuminating. Let us sit in a circle together.
Beautiful. Wow.
In order to co-create.
There we go. There we go. All right. Yes, Carolyn. What a beautiful production, and what a great representation of your work. How does it feel for you to see that and share that with us?
I love that video. It's one of my favorites, and one of my favorite pieces of poetry that I personally wrote. Yeah, and it's a lovely collaboration. My husband Ben Cole, of Ben Cole Cinematography, he created it. Obviously, together we did that, and it was lovely the medicine of creating that in itself, not just the finished article, but the, you know, the actual making of it, because we went on some really beautiful journeys to document those pieces. So yeah.
Beautiful, beautiful. I'm looking at your website here, hon. You've got 4 books published.
I've got 5.
Sorry.
I've got 5 books published actually,
Oh,
but
okay. I should ask you and not tell you. Yes. Okay. Do you want to? Can you give us a little background and then maybe begin to talk about what you're working on right now in terms of
well,
5
yeah,
books?
I mean, book writing, I never expected to write a book, although when I was a very little girl, it was the thing that I always expected myself to do, was to write a poetry book, because I loved poetry. And when I was very young, well, preschool, my mother absolutely insisted that I learnt to read and write before I went to school, mainly because my brother had started school, come home and read some words and written his name for the very first time, and she thought I could have got him to do that long before he went to school. So that sort of set the scene for me as her daughter then, had to learn, and I hated it. I couldn't grasp it at all. So I used to write this funny language that was kind of poetry, and so that was the beginnings of my own way of interpreting life, of meaning, of creativity. And as time went on, you know, I just continued to write poetry. It was how I made meaning of life in a sense, and with the dance. And then much later on, it was a wet, cold, windy day in West Cork, as we often have.
Right.
And, I remember sitting on the bed and just think, I'm going to start writing from the very beginning. That was my thought, and I remember it really clearly. And I just started writing on my little old laptop, and I kept going and I kept going, and I got to a point where I thought, I think I've got a book here. There's a lot of and I remembered my mother used to say to me, she said, you should write your story. You know, or long before she died, you know, she said, oh, you know, that it was, I had lots of adventures to document, and it was like a theme that had kept running through my life of writing, of sharing my story, and there was a reason behind that, and I needed to do it. So I looked into that book. I that was the first Misguided Angel that I wrote. It was published, but it had an interesting journey in itself, because I asked a friend over that way, who was also an astrologer, if she would have a look at it and maybe do a bit of proofreading, a bit of editing, or a bit of help with it. And what she said, oh, I'll do that, but I'll also look at your astrological chart at the same time. And she did that, and she said, you know, you've written this book in 2 parts, but looking at your chart, there is another part to be written. You've got to live that part before you can write it.
Right.
And she, I mean, amazing, absolutely.
Right. Totally right on. Right.
Her name was Tess, and you know, I literally, I put it aside, I put it away, put it in, you know, in the files, and it was 2 years before I revisited it, and within those 2 years, my life completely changed, absolutely, you know, shifted into a whole new area of my life. And then I picked it up again and started to read what I'd experienced from that. So all my books are very much memoir, my own experiences with the dance, with creativity, with finding purpose in life. And yeah, that it sort of continued from there. I had I did write a poetry book, but then I revisited my first book, Misguided Angel. So now the copy that you see there is called Misguided Angel Revisited.
Right.
And it's the first book, and I decided, you know, I didn't feel I'd done it justice. I felt there was more to it. I'd written a second book after that, which was a kind of, you know, that sort of carried on the story somewhat. I wanted to bring the two together, and there was a lot I'd put in the first one that I just thought, do you know what, I think that was more for me. It wasn't necessarily for the reader. And so I revisited it, as many artists do with their projects, and rewrote it. And I was very pleased with what I yeah, what I got from that, and what I was able to, contribute to for readers. And I wrote
Beautiful.
a few other books, one which was translated in the Czech Republic, which was really nice. I did a lot of work out that way.
Wow.
And yeah, and then I made oracle cards with my mother-in-law, and she was 83, started painting the oracle cards. So I wrote those. So
Wonderful.
we had a very, very creative journey together.
Mm.
Yeah.
And,
So,
and yeah, sorry, go on.
no, yeah, that, I mean, that she passed away a couple of years ago, but those cards in that book, they've traveled all over the world. They've done so well. It's been amazing. Yeah.
Right. Beautiful. Well, I'm overwhelmed. I have to tell you, all of this is just so exciting, and to have this opportunity to chat with you about all this is just so beautiful. Of course, I have to ask, so you have Middle Earth as the theme of your website and all of that. So of course that's Tolkien,
No, it
No?
does. People say to me, says, "Oh,
Okay.
you've nicked this off Tolkien, haven't you? Or is this about hobbits or some crazy thing?"
I'm just asking. You part my distance, yeah.
But Middle Earth Medicine, it's an interesting one because Middle Earth is the original name for our landscapes here, our environments.
Okay.
It's medieval times.
Okay.
That was the name that was, part of this part of the world.
Okay.
And Tolkien took that name
I see.
for his trilogy of books, and
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, good. I stand corrected, as we say. Thank you. I appreciate that. Well, can you talk then about what you're working on now with your new book a little bit?
Well, my new book, it's been a very interesting journey because I've always wanted to write. I've always been writing, journaling, poetry, all of that. And I knew I would be writing my next book.
Right.
At the time, I didn't know what it would be about. I start the process and I let it show me. That's the only way I've ever been able to.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah.
So I start writing this book, and
sorry, is there a title?
well, there is a title. It might be a working title at the moment. So, and it's actually called The Neurodivergent Soul, Where Soul and Story Meet.
Wow.
Yes.
Okay.
It wasn't to start with, it was just Where Soul and Story Meet.
Okay.
The title.
All right.
But I went on my own journey with this book. I was writing it, and for quite a few years, well, basically since I finished the last book and that was published, actually before that, because I always end up starting to write the next one sort of 3/4 of the way before the last one. That's just the way it is.
Yeah. Why not?
Multiple projects going a lot of it. So I was writing this book, and it was a real accumulation of my work and memoir and things that I'd been learning along the way, and a lot of stuff around spirituality and purpose and the meaning of that, making meaning of our life story. And I work very closely with people and their stories. So I'm a soul cartographer, which means that I help people to map out their life journey as a soul journey, and to see within the map what shows up, what their purpose is, what's their mission in life. And it can it's quite specific. People don't always get it. They think it's recovery from the traumas they've had and all this, but I take them on a very, very clear journey back to conception, to birth story, to the leaving home stories, all these different rites of passage that they'll have experienced through their lives, even when they haven't actually realized it. And we identified that the core piece from the very, very beginning, from the soul spark, I call it, so that they can identify, what's really true for them. And it's a fascinating process. And I work a lot with the Vesicus Piscis, or the mandala, the unity of circles, and the coming together, the soul spark that actually happens at conception. Because as we are conceived, there is a spark of light that literally happens inside the mother's womb. Right. And we come back to that spark when spirit and matter actually met in that moment, and what did it bring with it. So the mandala, the Vesicus Piscis, is a very strong part of my medicine, and I've lived with that all my life. So I've had this world of polarity that I've lived in, and has lived within me, and has developed into the body of work I now share.
Beautiful.
So book was very much a big part of all of that, and I explain a lot of that in it. But in this book as well, I have a workbook that goes with it, questionnaires, archetypal explorations, and so people can actually work with the book itself, and inquire into their own journey through it. But it was about 3 years ago that I started to recognize that I was actually on the spectrum, as many women are discovering these days.
I see.
Actually neurodivergent, and it was a big awakening for me, because I always knew that I was a bit different, that I was alternative and on the shamanic path and all those things, but there was more to it. There was something that didn't quite fit with modern day typical society, and I never quite grasped what there was something more to it anyway, and I won't go too much detail about that, but I ended up having a diagnosis and discovering that I actually do have ADHD. Hardly surprising, the way that I live my life and all the rest of it. And
oh, sure.
And I'm very much sort of on that spectrum of ADHD, autism, and have all the characteristics of that. But I've learned, 64 now, I've learned to manage it, and find very good coping mechanisms for it, and also totally embrace my own uniqueness and difference, rather than trying to fit into a typical world. I've really embraced who I am, and I've also done that with my children. My children are who they are. They've always followed their own path. I've always encouraged that. And not that they haven't had difficulties and challenges, of course, but it's been important for them and for me to honor that. So yeah, this book is now has leaned well into the neurodivergent theme, which I'm fascinated with. I think it's incredible that so much information is coming up about it these days, and particularly so many women are discovering, usually through their children's diagnosis, that they are on the spectrum, and it's suddenly there's all these pennies dropping and go, oh my goodness.
Right. Sorry, this is brilliant. I'm loving this conversation, my friend. Can you define neurodivergence for people that aren't familiar with the term?
So no, well, we live basically in a neurotypical world. Everything is geared towards this particular way, to this mindset. Our education systems, our institutions, that it's all geared for people who think a certain way.
Right.
And basically neurodivergence is like, in the books.
Yeah.
So neurodivergence is that there are people who think very differently, who process very differently.
Yes.
Different ways of coping in the world, different sensory abilities and sensations in their body, that sort of thing. And for years, we had the understanding was that it was just little boys that had ADHD, but they didn't call it then. There was sorts of different names, which I won't go into all of that, but there were lots of different names for ADHD and autism back then. And it was just little boys who had it, who were very quite disruptive, very, very busy, loud, bouncing around, and they needed controlling, basically. Women, on the other hand, girls, on the other hand, had a tendency, it was all internal, it was going on inside rather than outwardly. So a lot of thinking, a lot of quietness, shyness, not being able to express themselves very easily, a lot of inner world. And certainly for me, it was impossible for me in school to actually be a student in the school environment, because I just needed to move all the time. I could not sit still and be comfortable in the slightest. I was constantly moving and needing to move. She used to take me to psychiatrists and say, what's wrong with my daughter? There's something wrong with her. She knew there was something different about me. Bless her, she really was trying, but they would just say, oh no, she's lazy or difficult, or doesn't know how to behave herself, and all these things. I didn't have friends. I couldn't process what they were telling me in school. I was totally isolated, didn't play with the playground. I was just like, whoa. It was very extremely difficult growing up in that sort of environment. But yeah, they never found anything out because they didn't in those days. And so a lot of women are finding out now, oh, we just present differently to
Mm-hmm.
how the little boys presented, to how men present this.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And that's a bit black and white, because there's a lot of men who are discovering that they're ADHD or neurodivergent, and that you know, they've never known it because they maybe present in a quieter,
Sure.
more contained way.
Sure.
There's a lot of information about it, and there's a lot of negative thought about it as well. You know, you'll hear people saying, oh, everybody's a bit on the spectrum, or, you know, everybody's got a bit of that in them, or it's just a new trend, all these sorts of things. I decided I would do a course on it. I would study it. I listened to audio books and podcasts on it. You know, I really get my information as best as I can.
Yeah.
I'm working with neuroscientists, and yeah, deeply understanding it. And another trait of it is that most ADHD people, autistic people, or on the spectrum somewhere, are hypermobile. You know, have hypermobility, which I have quite extensively. And so that's a kind of a loose joints
I see.
to the brain as well.
Okay.
And so looking at that, you know, there's this a huge amount of information around all of this and how the brain works.
Right.
People.
Right.
So but my book is specifically, I can't go into all the scientific stuff because I'm not a doctor, I'm not a neuroscientist or anything like that.
Right.
But for me, it's the spiritual connection to it that fascinates me. And that is what has captivated me over the years. And I realize that it's the soul's journey and the you know, this difference that we hold within us that I've been most fascinated with.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, God bless you indeed, my friend. This just gets better and better. What's on my heart is, well, first of all, you know, what an incredibly courageous commitment that you embodied and embody to go through all of that, you know, in this lifetime, and to be the wise and loving guardian and guide you've become for many people. You know, you have a big impact in this world, and I've no doubt that you know, the best may be yet to come with this very important neurodivergent theme. What I'm thinking of right now, Caroline, is the telepathy tapes. Have you looked at those at all?
I've listened to those. Absolutely, yes. It's fascinating.
Yes. And you know, for people who don't know, this is Kai Dickens and her group interviewing what the autistic kids who call themselves autists. And for me, you know, of course, it's the spiritual part of it that with neurodivergence and autism and ADHD and you know, these bright souls that really are like yourself, you know, have a tremendous amount of wisdom and have paid an incredibly deep price to you know, be able to share this message with people, you know, of how to find our way back into our heart, soul, and spirit, and not just be trapped in the 3D and the body and the hierarchical, patriarchal paradigm, but, you know, as all that is unraveling, which it clearly, truly is, hallelujah, you know, people like yourself, my friend, are very multidimensional, is the other word that comes to mind. You know, have a foot in each world is my interpretation of that. Does that seem fair to you?
Absolutely. Yes, that's what it feels like. That's what it feels like.
Yeah.
To live in this book, to live in this time.
Yeah. So, I mean, you know, as the old age is unraveling, you know, as we know that it is, and the new age is, you know, unfolding as we're helping it to do, and we're all learning to listen to, trust, and follow our deepest inner wisdom and our inner guidance, and to create from the inside out. You know, it is a whole new reality, and so you know, it's just really exciting to get to chat with you about all of this, because you know, clearly from the moment you took a breath in this lifetime, this has been your mission and your purpose, and you're living it full on and flat out, as I like to say. Yeah, you're doing it completely. So wonderful.
It's true, and thank you very much for what you say there. But
My pleasure.
you see it from literally from the moment I took my first breath. I can see the pattern. I can see the map that came with me, and that I followed throughout my life. From that very first moment, even before that.
Right.
So tracking all of that information is really, really key.
Yeah, I mean, you're someone who was, basically in touch with your spirit, from the earliest age. And then if I understand, what you've shared so far here, and then, how to express that and embody that and honor that, and respect that and trust that and bring that out into the world, share that with other people.
Yeah, I think it's our duty to follow our particular mission.
Absolutely.
Not get caught up in the dramas of living, that we have to find that and we have to know it. And it's my responsibility to follow that path. Absolutely.
Well, bless you and hallelujah, sweetheart. It's a joy to know you. Really, really powerful, transformative information. One of the things the autists talk about is how, how all of this has evolved, and a lot of it is from being, perhaps being born into a toxic environment, where certain medical procedures were required upon people's birth and early childhood, which was quite catastrophic in the normal scheme of things. But, now, as spirit does, as the water flows around the stone, it finds a way, and that's what's happening for the neurodivergent, consciousness, as you're saying, that is much more common than people would imagine, and much more now, turning it from poison to medicine, from darkness to light, seeing what is the gift of this, what is the opportunity to grow and to heal here.
Absolutely. And I think there will be more and more people coming out as this, and our systems are going to have to change. And
Sure.
I think it will change for the better. And
absolutely.
That's really necessary. Yeah.
Well, to live from the heart rather than just the mind,
Absolutely.
And,
and to involve more creativity.
yes.
I think it's one of the key things to our spirituality, is to discover our creative essence. I was always a dancer. I had to dance from the word go. That was my dance, was my needing to move all the time. But that became dance, as in not in performance necessarily, but I was sent to ballet school very early on because mother recognized that need for dance.
Right.
So she thought, well, ballet then. And
Yeah.
of course, it was a little bit stiff for me.
But not a shock. Yeah.
But I remember my teacher, Miss Brown, she used to have this cane that she would beat out a rhythm with on the floor, not heavily, just gently, she'd give us a nice rhythm, and I would be listening to that. Never mind the piano and the tinkly tunes that we had to flip into. It was like that rhythm that she was beating. And I realized more recently, I suppose, that it wasn't so much the dance and the positions and all of that. It was like I needed a rhythm to regulate myself, to get in touch with, my heart, with my emotions, to steady me, just to help me to really live more fully. And to this day, I just love a rhythm. I did my dance class this morning, and I'm constantly looking for the rhythm, the beat, this connection to it's almost like finding the power of opposites in that. There's the sound and there's the quiet, the sound and the quiet, sound, quiet. And this dance, of polarity, is another part of what has helped me to express my own medicine in the world. So the dance has been vitally important to me, and the need to just connect to the music, to the rhythm, to the beat, and to steady myself in many ways. So it wasn't about performance.
Yeah.
It was about just movement. Just got to move my body.
Yeah. Oh, I hear you. Yeah. You know, and as you say, a lot of people who are autistic and ADHD and whatnot, you know, they're moving all the time, and you know, it's how they are grounding themselves in this dimension. And meanwhile, for you know, so you must be extremely telepathic and just incredibly, you know, razor sharp intuitive, you know.
Razor sharp intuitive, I would say. Telepathic.
Okay.
I don't know. I mean, I do have moments. I definitely have those
Right,
moments.
right.
Whether I exercise it well enough is to be argued, maybe, but definitely very, very intuitive.
Sure, sure. Yeah, you know, absolutely. It just pours off you. And the work, which is, you know, you're like sitting with a sun here, my friend. You know, you're like glowing in the light of your beautiful spirit. And, you know, just your great commitment, Hun, to freedom, you know, and to helping other people find the means to liberate, you know, themselves from these prisons of the mind and the culture, you know, is very powerful.
That is my point. And I have to say, Lou, you're flattering me too much here.
I'm a Virgo. I might do that.
Oh, okay, you can do
Okay.
it. I'm a Capricorn.
Okay. Good. You're the mountain goat. I'm the appreciative virgin. Okay.
So don't put me up there, you know. Like
Okay. All right.
crashing down the next
Okay.
minute.
I'll take it. I'll take your note. Thank you.
But yes, yeah, what were we saying?
Well, how you're healing people, you know, your journey has been wonderful.
Well, I would say, look, I don't call myself a healer in
Okay.
any respect, really.
Yeah.
You know, that not there's anything wrong with that necessarily, but you know, healing is to make whole. And so the thing is if I'm doing something to somebody else, they're not really doing the work that they need to do for
I hear
themselves.
you. Yeah. Yeah.
So it's really about helping people to find wholeness.
Absolutely.
So I act as a guide. I'm a guide.
Yes.
You know,
Yes.
that's what I would say I am.
Yeah. Yeah. A very powerful one, huh? You know. I mean, again, yeah, I'll try. When you're talking about, I hear you. I'm very intuitive as well, of course. When you're talking about coming back to the spark of light in the moment of conception, you know, say more about that whole process as you work with people.
Okay. So what the invitation with my work is, and there's quite a few maps that I've created that I take people to work with. One is called the Wheel of Soul's Return. So if you think about when we are conceived, there is this moment at conception where the what happens is you've got the little egg, yeah, that is floating away in the uterus, and the sperm meets it, and at that precise moment of the sperm meeting the egg, when that happens, there is a release of zinc from the egg that happens. And it shows up, you can look up this on YouTube or wherever, and you'll see that this, just as it happens, then this little spark of light appears. Now, that is the release of zinc that scientists have discovered. So it's a very practical thing that happens there. But I live in a world of duality. I'm really aware of that, and I see things in duality. We were to see that, because before they really knew that it was zinc, they thought maybe this is the beginning of consciousness. And why wouldn't it be?
Sure.
Because actually it is.
Of course.
Maybe it is a moment where spirit, the soul, and matter, the physical embodiment of human, meet. They come together in that moment. And it happens, the connection between the masculine and the feminine has to.
Yeah.
And so in that moment, you know, you have this spark of light, and then the next thing that happens is the little egg, its next action is to split into two.
Right.
And you can see the photographs that I've seen that are taken in utero.
Right.
Are two circles that overlap.
Beautiful.
Two little circles.
Yeah.
Because Pisces, the man door. When I saw that and realized that the very first action in life to split into two parts, and then into 4, and then into 8, and then into 16, and onwards. You know, that's what happens, and we become that flower of life.
Yes, yes, yes.
We often see on people's necklaces and the diagrams and
Right,
the beautiful flower of life.
right.
That begins with the mandala, the Vesicus Pisces. And so this is what starts to manifest our characteristics, who we'll be in the world, what we'll look like, the color of our eyes, color of our hair, skin tone, all those sorts of things happen at the very, very beginning.
Right.
So I also believe in this moment, and this isn't necessarily the truth, this is just what I see and sense from this experience,
Yeah.
is that in that moment, our soul mission is part of that spark, comes to light. Yeah.
Absolutely.
And that if there is a soul contract, which many belief systems hold,
Yeah.
centuries upon centuries, you know, we've always talked about the sacred contract or the soul purpose or the mission in life or your dharma. There's a lot of different names for it.
Yeah.
That moment, you know, our mission is coming into the human body to be lived as, you know, a spirit having a human experience.
Amen. Yeah.
And as this process occurs and we start to grow into this human form, we are pure, innocent, beautiful little beings coming into the world. Yeah, this absolute purity of this human, this baby coming to life.
Yeah.
And the moment we are born, as you said, we come into the hospital environment or the home environment, we have our experience of birth. And from that moment onwards, we're living in this world of duality, but also a world that is going to have an effect upon us. You know, the look of our mother or our father, the first experience of the hospital, the first the first feelings on our skin or in our heart, you know, the first moment of the breath or the cry, mother's milk, all those things, our very first experiences show us that, show part of that mission that we're here for. So when I was conceived, I was a wanted child. You know, there was no, I don't know that much about my actual birth because my mother would rather forget about that. You know, she's kind of, didn't really want to go there.
Yeah.
What she did tell me was that she was so pleased that she had a little girl. Now, I can interpret that as wonderful, great. You know, came into the world and I was immediately loved, wrapped in love from my mother because I was a little girl. She already had a little boy. He was 18 months older than me. So of course she wanted a little girl. But in that moment, there was that great expectation that I would be a certain kind of little girl.
Right.
Which I definitely wasn't.
Surprise.
But that's what set up for me this part of my map.
Yeah.
That I was this baby girl that was so wanted, and all the daughters from the previous generation, they'd all died very early at birth. So a lot of expectation on me, all kinds of ancestral expectation on me, expectation on me, all this stuff. So it was quite a big deal. I survived. And so, you know, this expectation on me to grow and be that perfect, delightful little girl that she so wanted. 6 months old, I started having amazing tantrums. Like I was, you know, fierce. I was terrible. I was naughty. I was misbehaved. I wanted everything my own way. Well, I recognize that now as, you know, the meltdowns and the shutdowns that we talk about when it comes to neurodivergence. You know, that kind of thing was going on for me. So I was so ultra sensitive. I couldn't handle the outside world.
Overwhelmed. Overwhelmed.
Completely overwhelmed by it all, particularly my mother's expectations.
Sure.
So that is the beginning of my story. And what I try to do is take people back to, you know, their origin story. We work with that. We don't just look at it and figure something out. We look at it intensely with certain processes. So really get to the core meaning of it. And that takes us on this whole other journey where we see that core experience being repeated over time throughout our lives.
Sure. The themes,
All the themes.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we look at each one of them and we start to make meaning from all of them until we've got this beautiful map and beautiful picture of our story. Now, most of the people I work with are my kind of age, or later in life, entering the second half of life, because then you've got all that story to work with.
Yeah.
You haven't got all that story, you're still in the story, you've still got to work through it.
Right.
It's really important. When you get to my age, you're going, okay, what's it all been about then?
Sure. You start to, that was beautifully said. You start to make the not the journey out in the world, but the journey into yourself.
Yeah.
You've had the first 30, 40, 50 years of being out in the world and thinking you're a certain person and expressing that and experiencing that and succeeding and failing and learning and growing and all of that. And then, you start to go, wow, I better look at where this is all coming from, because I'd like this to be better or more conscious or more loving or more successful or more joyous. Absolutely.
And that's where we find our legacy and our deepest memoirs.
Yes. Well, yeah, you start, beautifully said, we start wanting to align to the eternal truths rather than just the transitory and temporary illusions of separation of the world. Yeah. I mean, Carolyn, my friend, we're living in the perfect moment, for students of history and consciousness and the magic and the music of the divine feminine and masculine, coming together in this more conscious and more powerful way. And I like Marciniak's term of being systems busters. She calls us from the Pleiadians. There's just so much resonating with me about how you've lived your life and who you are as a teacher and a way shower. And I'm just blown away, my friend. This is so powerful, and your commitment and your vision is so clear and so strong, and your devotion to it is just total. And so you're doing one-to-one sessions, you're doing groups of people. How do you express all of that?
Well, I spent a lot of my life, adult life, teaching workshops and holding spaces with the dance. Mostly it started in Ireland, in West Cork, and in Cork City. I have my beautiful tribe of dancers in Cork City. I miss them, gosh. And
it's a great part of the world. I agree with you.
Yeah, when I was living there, it was very special, and that they helped me to really bring my work up and flowing and out there. And I started traveling, and I traveled to all kinds of different countries, to between Iceland and South Africa, and then lots of European countries, and I spent a lot of time in the Czech Republic, and just wherever anybody wanted me to go, really. And so I did a lot of these workshops, and then we had lockdown, and things started to change for me then. I have a lot of little grandchildren, and it was a big part of me that was going, what, I don't want to travel quite so much. I want to be here for them. And also I've always found it so difficult to travel. I'm not one that goes on holidays. I don't like getting on planes. I don't like doing those things. So it started to go, lockdown for me was, this is wonderful. I can just stay at home.
At last. Yeah.
I know it wasn't. I loved doing the actual workshops, but all the traveling was not.
No, I hear you.
Doing me any good.
It's hard work traveling. Yeah.
And so, so during that time, during lockdown, I took everything online. I could still connect with communities. I still, to this day, I still offer a little dance class Wednesday mornings online, which people come to, and we just have a lovely connection with that. And I set up courses. I started to create online courses that I could do with people, and workbooks, and just lots of videos and things like that. Things that we've just had to do. And I put up my she shed, and I used to have a yurt in the garden, but went a bit damp, so put up this she shed, I call it, and I have a lot of creative stuff around here, and I do all my own artwork, but also I hold the space for others here as well.
Beautiful.
So women's groups and yeah, and anyone who wants to work with me, so one-to-one as well. Yes, absolutely. I do a series of one-to-one sessions or just one-off one-to-ones. Whatever anybody needs really, and I spend a lot of time writing.
Beautiful, beautiful. Well, my dear, I'm just so blessed. You reached out to me, and I couldn't be happier to return the favor and really just begin to get some idea of your journey and your story and what you're sharing with the world. So I'm just really grateful to you for inviting me. Yeah.
Oh, no, bless you. It was lovely to have you on my podcast, and that will be out very, very soon. I'll share the links on your platform. But it was, the fact that you shared my podcast a few times with other people, which I thought, that is the way we all connect, isn't it? By helping each other out and sharing each other's work. And
yes,
that I thought, well, let's have Lou on my podcast, and that was really great. So, and then we just keep exchanging, and I think if we can do that with each other, we just got to support each other, not
yeah. Oh, it's a pleasure. You're singing my song, you can imagine. I'm delighted. Yeah, honestly, I mean, as we're coming down the home stretch here for our time together at the moment, I just leave this with you, my friend. I'm very conscious of the divine timing of what's happening right now. And as I was sharing with you, the whole feast of all these indigenous teachers showing up in my world here completely out of the blue, a few weeks ago, and how earth-shaking that was. And so you're definitely on my list now of people I want to keep, in my tribe and do learn more about your work and share your messages and energy with people. So yeah, I'm sure we're all getting ready for the big shift, the big move shortly.
I hope so. It's very much needed in the world, especially when we see what's going on in certain countries and some of the difficulties that people are having.
Yeah.
Challenges, that something has to change. And I think,
yes,
the whole thing of, the chaos has to happen for there to be shift.
Right.
And,
Right.
I'm a great believer in that, but it's
Yes.
a great expense to many lives.
Sure. No, absolutely. There's a lot of heartbreak out there in the world, and there's a lot of chaos and confusion for everyone about security and safety and normality, and we all jumped in to this lifetime and said, yeah, that's for me. I want to help, change the story of humanity and Mother Earth and come back to what this place was meant to be, and not pale reflection it's become sometimes. Yeah, beautiful. Well, honey, I love you madly, and I can't wait to chat again. And thank you so much for being on the planet with your bright, sunny smile and your indomitable and gorgeous spirit. Thank you for all you're doing.
Thank you so much, Lou. It's been a real pleasure to be connecting with you, and blessings to everybody who's listening.
Till we meet again. Thank you so much, Caroline. Have a wonderful day, and I'll share your links with everyone. And Garamagut.
Thank you very much, Lou.
My pleasure. Peace and blessings.